So here we are, the value ladder of a man in Asia. Why even the average Joe becomes a prize out here. When it comes to relationships and dating, the West and Asia might as well be playing two completely different games. One is fast-paced, image-driven, and steeped in hyper-individualism. The other, well, deeply rooted in tradition, practicality, and family values. And when a man, especially an older Western man, makes the move to Asia, particularly the Philippines or Thailand, he often finds himself suddenly climbing a value ladder he never even knew existed. Asking the right questions can reveal a lot about an Asian woman and her intentions, but once you've filtered through the surface and got to the core, you start to realize something profound. Your worth as a man isn't just intact over here, it's multiplied. And if you're even semi-decent on a pension and not exactly winning any beauty contests, you'll still find yourself to be a sought-after commodity. This is one of those unspoken truths that quietly blows people's minds once they experienced it firsthand. So let's dig into how exactly that value ladder looks different in Asia, especially when compared to the modern dating climate back in the West. From overlooked to admired, the power of modest means. Well, in the West, an older man, let's say retired, living on a state pension, average looks, maybe bit of a belly, is often pushed to the fringes of the dating world. On apps, he's ignored, in bars, invisible, and unless he's packing a trust fund or a yacht, he might find it nearly impossible to land a meaningful relationship with a younger, attractive woman. Bring that man to Asia, however, and suddenly he's in demand. Why? Because the playing field is completely different. The cost of living here is low, expectations are realistic, and financial stability isn't defined by luxury, it's defined by reliability. If a man can keep the lights on, pay the rent, and treat his woman to dinner on a weekend, he's already doing better than most of the local dating pool. And that humble pension back home, well, it might barely cover bills. Over here, it's enough to provide comfort, security, and a modest lifestyle. And that makes you incredibly valuable. You're not just another older guy, you are a provider, a rock, someone who can offer peace of mind, and that's a rare, precious commodity over here. You don't have to be an oil painting to be desired. Let's be brutally honest here. In the West, physical appearance holds massive weight, especially for men over 40. And unless you've got a six-pack or a sports car to distract from your receding hairline, you're often passed over without a second thought. Online dating algorithms aren't kind to older gents unless they look like George Clooney and earn like Elon Musk. But here in Asia, the script gets flipped entirely. An Asian woman is far more likely to prioritize your character over your cosmetics. If you're kind, respectful, stable, and faithful, you can be average looking or even ugly by Western standards and still have women interested in a serious relationship with you, a loving relationship. Your wrinkles, well, a sign of maturity. Your grey hair, a symbol of wisdom. Your dad bod, not a deal breaker, not even close. In fact, for many, it's preferred because along with your years comes something far more valuable than abs and drama. Experience, steadiness, and a level of calm that most younger men haven't yet developed. Over here, those qualities aren't just noticed, they're cherished. A man of character is a rare treasure because the modern Western dating scene can often feel like a competition of optics. You're judged by your photos, your captions, your career title, and whether your lifestyle looks Insta-worthy. But in Asia, the deeper traits matter much more. And this really is where even a simple average man, if he's got good character, suddenly finds himself surrounded by genuine options, the kind of options he's never really had before, not even maybe in his younger years. Asian women aren't out here looking for influencers, they're looking for consistency. A man who means what he says, a man who stays faithful, a man who doesn't just say he'll be there, but actually shows up day in and day out. That kind of man is rare anywhere, but over here, it's like gold dust. And here's the twist. Back home, these traits might go unnoticed or even undervalued. But in Asia, they're magnified. They are respected. They're the foundation of relationships. So the man who was once overlooked in his own country suddenly becomes the kind of man women actually compete for. The market dynamics are in your favor. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: supply and demand. In the West, women have endless options: apps, clubs, social circles, professional networks, all overflowing with potential matches. And because the market is saturated, the bar for men keeps rising. You're expected to be everything: rich, fit, emotionally intelligent, adventurous, funny, and woke, but still masculine at the same time. Well, good luck with that. In countries in Asia, however, the ratio swings in your favor. There are simply more women than men on average, and especially when you factor in the population's overseas work migration trends and cultural preferences. On top of that, many local men may not meet the traditional good partner criteria, whether it's due to infidelity, alcoholism, or lack of ambition. So when a Western man comes in, stable, respectful, sincere, he stands out big time. He becomes the prize. And no, you don't need to be flashy or young. You just need to bring peace, provision, and presence. That's the value ladder here. And the bar, while not low, is refreshingly clear for once. Emotional security is the unspoken gold standard out of here. It's easy to underestimate how much women value emotional security. In the West, where dependence and individualism are prized, many women are encouraged to suppress their more nurturing or vulnerable sides to avoid being seen as needy. But in Asia, women don't hide that part of themselves. They value being loved deeply, openly, and consistently. They want to feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally as well. This is why a man who's calm, communicative, and loyal is so valuable. If he can provide a woman with a sense of emotional peace, he becomes irreplaceable to her. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to play games. You don't need to be aloof or pretend to be busy. Just be real. Be honest and consistent. The right woman will see your worth at some point and cherish you for it. So ultimately here, you get what you give and more. Many Western men who come to Asia are shocked at how well they've been treated in relationships. And I'm talking about home-cooked meals, back rubs, sweet messages, someone who genuinely cares how your day was. It's like stepping into a time machine where traditional values still exist, not because of control or repression, but because they're woven into the cultural fabric. If you give loyalty, respect, and stability, you get devotion, care, and genuine affection in return. This is not about being worshipped or pampered in some delusional fantasy. It's about mutual value. She gives you her love, her time, her care, her intimacy. And you give her your protection, commitment, and consistency. Now, that's not just a relationship. That's a partnership. So, final words here. The value ladder of a man in Asia is dramatically different than in the West. Over here, you don't need to be rich. You just need to be reliable. You don't need to be a model. You just need to be kind. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be emotionally stable. Even on a state pension, even with average looks, if you've got your life together and you're respectful of others, you automatically rise up that value ladder, because over here, you are the prize. A man who back home might have been ghosted, sidelined, or forgotten about can become the kind of man that women deeply respect and genuinely want to build a future with here. So filter wisely. Don't tolerate nonsense or chaos. There's no need to. Raise your standards, because over here you have options that maybe you've never encountered before. You're not stuck. You don't have to settle. You are the commodity. So play your cards right. And you will find a partner that treats you not just like a man, but like the king that you've always been, right at the top, yeah, of your own ladder.